Holy cow, guys, these are so stinking cute. I'm back to my favorite crafting obsession, using Eco-Resin and UV resin to create these little ring dishes and magnets, because you know how much I love making magnets. So if you've been curious about Eco-Resin or UV resin, this is the tutorial for you. We're going to be diving into both with this super quick and easy beginner's tutorial. Let's get moving. Get it? Moving? Okay, let's go. We've got our Resin Crete, which is a water-based eco-resin, and I am obsessed with this stuff, as you well know if you've seen any of my other videos. We're also going to be working with some UV resin, and I've got these great silicone molds. These ones are by Let's Resin. You can see I cut out the little nubbins on some of these because I like to use them as magnets. And then I've got these two small, I think they're tea light holder molds, but they make the best little ring dishes too. And then a square one that I love to use for magnets. And aren't these stickers so adorable? I love Highland cows. So if you have a Highland cow lover in your life, this is a great gift for them. To get started, you're going to need a measuring scale to measure out your resin crete by grams. And the directions and ratios of mixing your powder to water are on the back. Be sure to wear any protective gear that they recommend. And if you're not sure how much resin crete to mix, they do have a calculator on their website. But I usually just wing it and have extra molds on standby or mix extra if I need to. For this batch, I'm going to add about 60 grams of water. It's okay if you're off by a little, this stuff is so forgiving. And then 200 grams of resin crete. And you've got about 8 minutes working time to get this stirred up. This mini silicone whisk is great for getting most of those little lumps and bumps out. And you want it to be about this consistency. It's kind of like pancake batter. And now we just pour them into our molds. You can color resin crete, but I'm going to leave these white for this project. I love just the plain white look of resin crete. And I recommend not mixing up too much of this all at once because you do have a pretty short working time. And you'll want to make sure you give them a little jiggle and a little wiggle to help let that resin crete settle and release any bubbles. Now for our second ring dish, and you can see I was just shy of mixing up enough for that, so I mixed up a little more. And just so you know, it's okay if you don't mix up enough and it starts to cure, you can add to it and you'll never know the difference. And I always have this mold on standby when I'm working with resin because I use it for everything. And we just save them for a future project. It has been 30 minutes and these are ready to demold. It's quick, it's crazy, it's pretty awesome. The bowls turned out perfect, smooth. I love the white ceramic fill and look that resin crete gives you. And you can see in our magnet pieces the little divot where I cut the nubbin out of the mold, but it's okay because you won't notice it when I add my resin and stickers on top. This is just the first step. Now I'm going to let these continue to dry at least another few hours. It just depends on your climate if you put them in a curing machine or sometimes I'll just let them sit overnight and make sure they're all the way dried out and the moisture is dispersed. And now that those are completely dry and ready to go, we're going to add a thin layer of UV resin so that we can adhere these adorable stickers. These are UV DTF transfer stickers. So they're waterproof, they're great for projects like this. Just gonna cut those out and get ready to start playing with our UV resin, which means all our protective gear, your mask, your gloves, and I've got a air purifier that's just made for resin. I love this machine. We're gonna be working with J. Dixon's UV resin today. They have a medium, a low, and a high viscosity. And you can get these in a bundle and they're great. The reason you have to put down a thin layer of resin before you put down your stickers is because this kind of sticker does not like to stick to Resin Crate without it. So I'm just putting in a really thin layer of UV resin. I'm spreading that around. I'm going to cure it under my light for 2 minutes. And while that's curing, I'm going to go ahead and do my second trinket dish. And I'm going to switch to the medium UV resin since it's a little thinner and we don't need to worry about doming it. Higher viscosity means thicker resin, lower means thinner. So again, we're just adding a little bit of UV resin to the bottom. Going to pop that under the cure light with my other one for another couple of minutes. And it's as simple as that, and these are ready for their stickers. But one thing you need to know is you want to let these cool down before you apply your stickers. I learned that they don't stick very well when they're still warm. So we'll set those aside and we'll go ahead and start putting a first layer of resin on our magnets. And I think I want a little glitz and glam behind one of them, so I'm going to get out my glitz glitter and mix that with some clear UV resin. And this will become the backdrop for one of our little cows. And you want to make sure to work that resin all the way out to the edge without going over. So I just kind of tap, tap, tap along the edges to work it out to the edge, and then I pop those bubbles and cure it pretty quickly. It takes a little practice, but again, remember the different viscosities of resin will help you with this. If it's thicker, it's less likely to pour over the edge. And once that resin starts to flow over the edge, there's no stopping it. So just use the tap, tap, tapping technique along the edge and take your time. And under the UV light it goes. You can also add your silicone mixing tools under the UV light and cure them too, and the resin will pop off and it'll be ready to go for the next one. And there's our cured sparkly backdrop. And see how easy this resin pops right out once you cure it, and you can use it again. Now in the next one, I'm going to get out my pearlescent UV colors. These are pre-mixed pearly, luscious colored UV resins. And I'm going to mix that with some clear just to give us a little color backdrop for one of these cows. And as always, I'm going to put a list with links, if I have them, to all of the supplies I use in these videos in the description below my video. And I always have great discount codes for some of the products, including all of these J. Dixon products. So be sure to check that out and save some money. Back under the light that goes. And I think I'll do one with a blue backdrop of pearlescent too. This time I'm going to mix it together in a cup. It really doesn't matter, it's just how comfortable you are. And probably don't do it on top of your UV light like I am. I'm just being impatient and trying to get the video done for you. But yeah, in case you leak over the edge, may not be a good idea. And our square one too. I think I'll leave a couple of these just with clear UV resin and that white backdrop. Now that those are all cured and cooled down, we're ready to stick on our stickers. This is my favorite sticker of all of them, so I'm going to put this in one of the little ring dishes. She's adorable. And then you just give it a light rub and you peel the top layer off and your sticker is transferred just like that. And then once we get done transferring all of these stickers, we're going to add one more clear coat of resin to seal them all in. This cow looks perfect on the green backdrop because she has green leaves in her hair. Stick it, rub it, peel it. That's all you do. Now you can see on some of these, I'm placing them a little off the edge because I want certain parts of them to be on the magnet. But all you have to do is take a straight edge and just trim them up around the edge after you're done. Just don't cut yourself. And our little splashing in the rain happy cow is going to go on the blue. I also want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of my Creative Crew channel members. I appreciate that extra support. And for those of you who reached out and bought me coffee, thank you, thank you. Here's our little cool cow with the sunglasses. That one's a lot of fun. And now that those are done, all we have left to do is add a clear coat of UV resin. On the dishes, you don't have to worry about doming it, so you can use a thinner UV resin and it'll spread easier, have less bubbles, and cures just the same. And on our magnets, because we don't want the resin going over the edge, I'm using the thickest UV resin, which is high viscosity, and it's just thicker and it'll help you dome it up a lot better, and it really makes the image pop. And you want to be extra careful on this layer, try not to let it go over the edge, but if it does go over the edge, you can sand it down or sometimes take that razor while it's still kind of soft and trim it off. And in a minute, I'm going to show you an oopsie I had and how to fix that. Of course, it's our little laughing, happy, splashing cow that gives me the problems. So what happened is, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but there's some pits in the top coat because I didn't get enough resin on them. I'm usually pretty good about it, but you know, I'm older and my vision's going, so that happens. All you have to do is take a sanding block. This is a nail sanding block, and I just sand the surface, wipe it off just to give it a little extra grip, and then I re-dome my top coat. And it looks perfect. You wouldn't even know. Now that those are all done, we're going to add our magnets. I found the perfect size on Amazon and they work great. I usually use an E6000 or 7000 glue, but this had really good reviews. It's like a super glue, and you definitely don't want to get this on your skin. So I'm going to put a glove on. We're going to just put a little dab of glue on, put our magnet on, and let those dry. And here's what we've got. This is my favorite dish. I'm going to keep this one for myself, which I rarely do. And then here's all of our magnets. I hope you enjoyed this video. You got some inspiration and some ideas, and we'll see you in the next one.